Good morning, children of God. What a wonderful day it is, and welcome to each and every one of you. Let us begin this morning in prayer. Loving Father, Mother God, we take this moment to acknowledge your presence. Moving in and through us. We take this moment to be open and receptive and responsive to your instruction and guidance. And we give thanks for the opportunity to come together to worship, to join in fellowship, and to grow in the name, in the nature, and in the power of the Christ. Amen.
This morning, I'd like to read something from for you, from, guess what, Joel Goldsmith. And it's from the book, Leave Your Nets. But this up here, The Truth is Within You, which I found fascinating, what was saying on the screen this morning as you came in. Very similar words. And this is something that when Stella and I went with a women's group to the coast, I ended up kind of secluding myself because I felt like I needed to be quiet and be alone. And that group of women that I was with allowed you to do whatever you wanted to do. It wasn't one of those things where thou shalt. And it was wonderful to be able to do that. And I got hooked up into the beginning that he had written that just blew my mind, and I kept thinking about it and rereading it, and I think I probably read it more than 100 times during those three days that we were there. And I'm still working with it. And then I went on to the first chapter, which I am going to read all of this to you today. It's a very, very short. It's not, don't panic. It's something that I've been reading and rereading and rereading, and I'm really, really working with this within myself right now. And if anyone is interested in this phrase, I will be very glad to copy it and give it to you. Illumination dissolves all material ties and binds men together with the golden chains of spiritual understanding. It acknowledges only the leadership of the Christ. It has no ritual but the divine, impersonal, universal love, capital L. No other worship than the inner flame, capital F, that is ever lit at the shrine of spirit. This union is the free state of spiritual brotherhood. The only restraint is the discipline of soul. Therefore, we know liberty without license. We are a united universe without physical limits, a divine service to God without ceremony or creed, the illumined walk without fear, by grace. And then he takes that on into the first chapter called The Call. God consciousness is a plane of consciousness different from that experienced by the quote-unquote natural man. The natural man is acquisitive, fearful, doubtful, and hesitant in thought and deed, all based on fears concerning the self. He lives in a sense of separation from God, but at some time in his experience, because of the depth and degree of his need, the natural man is turned inward to seek within himself for that which he outwardly requires. This inward turning becomes a search for God, a seeking for truth, and when earnestly and persistently followed, results in the dawning in consciousness of the verities, the activities, laws, substance, and being of the infinite invisible. The natural man begins to quote-unquote die, and the Son of God is being raised up. Now the seeker begins to realize some measure of his oneness with God. and he eventually discerns that spirit really is the essence and very fiber of his being. The realization of divine sonship is unfolding, a conscious awareness of spirit and its law and being. The Christ, or Son of God, is being born again in the manger of human consciousness. Again, the Christ, or Son of God, is being born again in the manger of human consciousness and evolves by stages to the degree of manhood in Christ, to the full stature of sonship or God consciousness. On this higher plane, the quote-unquote old man appears less and less. Now one becomes aware that this old man is not and never was a real entity, but rather that a false concept of the creative principle and its universe had been entertained and accepted as truth. More and more the awareness of true identity becomes manifest, and slowly truth dawns in consciousness until God is beheld as one's own being. Now comes the understanding that man shall not live by bread alone, Matthew 4:4, but more by the consciousness of truth, that the acquisitive consciousness has given way to the I have meat ye know not of consciousness. In this consciousness there is no selfhood for which to fear, since God has been revealed as the only selfhood, self-sufficient and eternal. It now becomes apparent that life is lived by grace as the gift of God, and the sense of personal effort, human will, and struggle falls away. Life is lived by the law of God. The supply of our daily needs unfolds with no anxious thought from the infinite source of being. The divine harmonies of human relationships are maintained by the beauty and the activity of the soul, unless one forgets himself and temporarily becomes a reformer of others, and by so doing brings on the enmity of the quote-unquote natural man, who desires not at all to be extinguished. If we are rich, we are poor indeed unless our wealth is in him. If we are well, the body aches unless our health is in him. There is no peace, no security, and no joy except these be found in him, whom to know aright is life eternal. Yes, life joyous, peaceful, and serene. When the call comes to you to leave your quote-unquote nets, you will understand that you are called upon to leave behind the limited and limiting sense of existence, because you are ready to drop your dependence on persons, things, and conditions of the world to live wholly in God. No longer will you so keenly love, hate, or fear the conditions of quote-unquote this world, the realm of effect, because now you will perceive the true nature of God as the cause, law, and source of your good. You will understand now that the infinite invisible is your rock, your fortress, your high tower, and your sanctuary for every storm and strife of human belief. Further than this, you will see that only the invisible, these are capital I's when I say those, is power, and therefore that no power for good or for evil exists in the realm of effect. Your entire obedience and dependence will rest upon the within and not upon the without. When the voice says, I will make you fishers of men, you will understand so clearly that God is your being, that those who come to you will seek and find spirit and their life too. Leave your nets and follow me. And the capitalized me referred to God.
I have a teleprompter. It's a whole other story. In your program, you should have a copy of our Silent Unity Prayer Service, and I'd like to invite you to participate with us on any given Wednesday at about 11 o'clock. We get together and work with those prayers that have come in throughout the week, your prayers from today, and then we work with them and with you for the entire month, and then we send them off to Silent Unity, where your prayers are once again worked with by that organization and that prayer ministry for another 30 days. And we regularly get letters back from Unity Village that says, gee, you guys are doing great work here. I suspect it is a form letter, but it sure feels good. It was in the right form when it got here. Okay. The best part of praying and working with your daily word is this notion of doing it every day. And whether it be from this book or from another, the idea is to get into prayer. Hold a thought. And so I'm not going to read this today, other than to tell you that it's there for you and that it's a really good decision. And we're going to move directly into our prayer meditation. We're going to center up, and we're going to start with I am. See? We live the truth we know. And you have just spoken the truth of you. And in this quiet time, as we gently and easily move to that place in consciousness which Jesus called my inner chamber, my secret place, I take with me that thought. I am. And when I have gone into my inner chamber and closed the door, shut out all those things that I think are mine to do later today, all those things I should have done yesterday, and allow them to just rest and be. As I hold on to that thought, I am, I listen. As I am still, I hear that which is mine in this moment. For some, I am love. For others, I am peace. For others, I am abundance. For that which you need in this moment is yours. And in this holy moment I claim it. I immerse myself in it. This thought moves in and through me. And in the stillness I embrace it. because I have received, so freely I give. And I send this thought through me into this room. Where it draws strength and power from thought of like mind. And it grows in strength and in power and moves through our community, our state, our country, our world. And as we allow this feeling to grow within us, we know that somewhere, someone has said, thank you, thank you, thank you, for in this moment, peace was what I needed. Love is what I needed. Abundance is what I needed. And I am grateful. And that gratitude grows and swells and returns to you, and the circle is complete. I receive it, and am grateful, and I send it, and I am grateful. And with each breath I take, I allow this feeling to grow in me and through me. And knowing that I could stay in this place, but there is more for me to do, gently, easily, and effortlessly, I bring my attention back to this place, to this now, to this when. And I hold the truth of me as I pray as Jesus, my elder brother, has taught us in this manner.
Thy kingdom come. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens up our hearts, sets our worries free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens up our hearts, sets our worries free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens up our hearts, sets our worries free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up a well within my soul. Spring up a well and make me whole. Spring up a well and give to me that life abundantly. That life abundantly.
Perfect. Not necessarily every note. Now, I said that on purpose. Okay? And the reason I said it on purpose is this. What you did, somebody needed to hear. See? And this is the truth of you. What you do, what you say, how you act, somebody needs to see, hear that message. What message are you sending? Ooh. I need to rethink some things, don't I? Okay. What message are we sending to our world? We were talking on the way in, Lynn and I, this morning about what's going on, and that was in our world, and then it got reinforced when somebody else talked to me this morning about, with all the stuff that's going on in the world, I need a lot of help to keep centered. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on out here that doesn't have anything to do with the truth of me. It's a lot of noise. It's a lot of garbage, quite frankly. And it doesn't matter whether you think one way or another. Good for you. That's what we're all about, is learning how to think well. But let me ask you a question. What do we teach? We teach here what I think about, what I say, I bring into my world. What are you thinking about, and what are you saying? If you're preaching fear, what will you reap? Fear. If you're preaching lack and limitation, what will you reap? Lack and limitation. That is not the truth of us. And this isn't political. It doesn't have anything to do with one party or another. It has to do with what you're thinking. It has to do with what we together are thinking. It's how we get through day to day with all this noise that's going on about us. I am not poor. I am not weak. What do you put after I am? Sometimes nots, which I just did. I'm not this kind of stuff. But I don't like to go there. I much rather prefer, what am I? I am love. That's what I want to put out. I am peace. That's what I want to put out. I saw a bumper sticker, just absolutely cracked me up today. It said, teach peace. And then on the other side of the car was what? This one's a liar. So we're going to be peaceful except about this guy. We're going to teach peace except this way. We're going to teach love except not for them. And I'm going, wait a minute. There's something wrong with this message. I need to get back to the truth of me. I need to be honest with me. Now, I can have an opinion and be very judgmental about how things are going in my world, and I'm not saying that I should walk around in a cloud and ignore everything. That's not what I'm pointing out. Sure, there's problems in my world. Who created them? Raise your hand. Who can fix them? Raise your hand. And how do we do it? Now, the problem comes in with what we think, which leads us, I love how this works, into today's lesson. Buried talents. Some of you don't think you know how to solve a problem. It's a buried talent. I don't know how to solve this problem, or that problem, or the other one. And so that ability you have within you to solve problems, you've just hidden. For whatever reason. But here's the truth of you. You have the power to change your mind. Think about what God has given you. You have the power to live. The power to live. And to choose how to live. What's the difference between you and I and the fowl in the air and the beast in the field and the trees in the forest? What's the main difference? Has anybody ever thought about it? We're all God's creatures, yes? We all have that substance of source within us, yes? But you and I are different because not only have we have life and the power of life, we have the ability to choose how to live. Now think about it. I saw it on the way in this morning. It was really so cool. The elk are back. And they're all bedded down in the field except two. Great big old guys. Little sets of racks. One looking one way, one looking the other. The whole rest of the herd laying still. On guard, yes? Okay. Now, are the elk trying to be anything else other than elk? No. Do they know how to live anything other than elkness? Whatever that means. No. They don't pretend to be deer. They don't put on the face of caribou. I'm just an elk. Yeah? And that's who they are. And they are limited in that scope because they don't have the ability you and I have to change how we live. You have to decide what that means for you. Think about the talents you have. Now, we often talk about talents. We talk about artistic talents and painting and music and stuff, yes? Stuff we see out here as being talents. But here's one that you may not recognize as a talent, but you all have it. You have the talent to love. And it's a talent. I mean, look around you. There's a lot of people who don't know how. You have the talent to be peace. Not to talk about it, but to be it, to live it. That's a talent that you need to share with your world. Right? What other talents do you have that you've buried? And you may have buried them for all the right reasons. I like this one. I buried it because that's what my family told me. What would you let loose if you knew, absolutely knew, was the right and perfect thing for you to do in this moment? That no one can tell you whether it's right or whether it's wrong. It has to be right for you. If you just cut it loose, how much more would your world change when you allow these buried talents to come forth? Somebody said to me not too long ago, you understand that part of what you're going through, Rob, this own learning process that you're going through, this learning about changing your words and your language to the best of your ability to eliminate the notion of duality. God is not out here. Where does God live? Here. The words that I spend with the I am, I want you to embody that. I want you to take that. That's the truth of you. And I had somebody say to me, and I serious as a heart attack, they said, you understand that you're asking for trouble? I went, yeah, I am. And I'm in really good company. Because you need to wake up. And if it takes a controversy to wake up, okay, then let's be controversial. Let's talk about the truth of us. If you want to bring it locally, how many of you in this room actually believe that the current financial crisis is solved with a $700 billion bailout? All those that believe that, please raise your hand. Wow, not one. What does that tell you? It tells me I need to refocus, doesn't it? It tells me that, for me, that I need to stand up for the truth of me, that there is no lack or limitation in my world, and that I will no longer live there. So I need to shift that. I just give an I am not. I'm not poor. Okay. What are you? I'm abundant. I am prosperous. I'm wonderful. And be it. And be it. Bring the responsibility back here. I haven't gone so far as one of the things that was suggested to me yet. Yeah, I may do it today and maybe I won't. I have to think about that a little bit. Because it takes a lot of work. One of the things we work on Wednesdays is this learning how to really focus in on the truth of you and to change your languaging. Okay? And again, removing this notion of duality. Jesus is my guy. I don't make any bones about it. He is my teacher. He is my way shower. He is my leader. But he said something that I have taken to heart and a relearning. When he said the Father and I are one, it wasn't a statement of, well, I think so. It was a statement of truth. Not just for him, but for you and I. So when you look in the mirror, you can say and know the Father and I are one. There is no separation. There is no out there-ness. It's right here. So if you're unhappy with your world, fix it. Change your thinking about it. Change how you will step out in it. Let me give you an example. Right now, we're in the process of taking a look at a piece of property to expand our congregation size and shape, and a building to go along with it. It's not finalized yet, and when it is, we'll certainly put out the word and say to our congregation, as we are required by our bylaws, do you think this is a really good idea, yes or no? If you say no, we stay here. If you say yes, we move. But as a part of that, just to show you how Rob's head works, there's a piece of that particular property that's an open field. Now, I am not a farmer, okay? But I've got an open field in a time where the appearance is that maybe making sure that I have homegrown food is a good idea, that I don't have to count on transportation from Chile or Puerto Rico. Well, my rum comes from there. Never mind that one. But maybe it would be a good idea to look at that. And again, not from my personal perspective, because I'm not the farmer, but here is something that might be something to look at. There's another piece of that. The other piece to that is that in this particular property we're looking at, there's a Christian school that's already there in place. What would it look like if those children were involved in that process of growing their own food and seeing the miracle of bringing life to fruition? of planting what you want to harvest. Wouldn't that be a wonderful lesson? Do I really want spinach or am I after green beans? You know? If I'm after green beans, I guess I better plant green beans. Yes, good lesson. Okay? And there's nothing that says it has to limit itself in that particular aspect of that school. There are other kids that need to learn that message too, that go to the public schools in the not too far distant range of this particular property. What else can we do in our community to be of social importance? I don't know the answer to that, but I'm thinking to myself, how do we tie things together? See, that's being of service. So perhaps that's one of your buried talents, is you haven't thought well enough about being of service. How can I reach out and be of service in my community? And somebody just said, and I just heard it, Rob, you just don't understand. I am so busy. I just don't have one 30-second span of time to put together to be of service. That's too bad. It's not true. Because here's one way you can be of service. You can be of service by being in love with your world. Because when you are smiling and in love with your world, people look at you in a new and different way. And they will ask you the question, I don't know what you've been smoking or drinking, but I want part of it. Right? And the answer is, I'm not smoking or drinking anything, but you're more than welcome to all of it. And I just turned to the earth, and I just cleared some of my being, and I allowed myself to work in a new way. And that's uncovering a buried talent. So this week, as you're working on whatever it is you are working on in your life, think about these things. What am I burying that I should be putting in the light? What can I share in a new way? Who can I touch this week by being aware of who I am? And the answer is, I don't know. But you'll find it. You will know it. It will change your life. And so, we take a moment and we breathe. And I give thanks for the talent I have and have already brought into expression. And I breathe. And I give thanks for the opportunity to explore and hunt within me for new ways, new talents to bring into expression. And I breathe, and I rest, and I know in this moment, I am. Namaste.
Thank you for listening. Please feel free to pass this message along to your friends and family. You can obtain additional audio tapes or CDs by visiting our website or by calling our office at 541-772-6902. We invite you to join us in prayer. We know that prayer works, and now you can send your prayer request to our prayer team here at Christ Unity Church by using the form on our website. The activities, programs, and services of this ministry are presented on a love offering basis. All gifts, regardless of size, are gratefully accepted. You may participate either by sending your gift to Christ Unity Church, 540 North Holly Street, Medford, Oregon, 97501, or by visiting us on the internet at www.unitymedford.org.